All right, you normally get us on Wednesday, but we figured we would kick off your week this week as a special post-Christmas, pre-New Year's episode of the Metal Summit. We had some scheduling that we wanted to get situated for all parties involved, and we appreciate all that for sure. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us for your Island of Misfit Toys, Psycho Steve, Angel. We've got Jason. We'll have Bobby at some point today, and you know how much we always love him. I'm Jay, but the fact of the matter is, we've got this cat with us tonight. We appreciate you so much, man, for taking time out of your schedule, James. James Durbin, how are you, brother?
Can't complain. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man, for sure. So we'll pretty much jump right into it. I mean, I got to tell you, bro, like, when you take like the last like year and a half to 2 years, you've really had one that was, very unique. Like for your solo work, you had, Homeland come out. You followed that up with Hollywood Cowboys when you finished your tenure with Quiet Riot. And then coming into 2020, and then COVID hits. So that puts the whole music industry in flux. But then coming into 2021, we're looking forward to your metal album, The Beast Awakens, coming out and being with everybody. So talk a little bit about just what, the recent time leading up to this release has been for you. Has it been very unique for your situation?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been wild. It's been a trip for everybody, and certainly myself included. Homeland. I wrote Homeland in the summer. What was it? The summer leading up to the fall. My family and I were moving to Nashville, Tennessee, because of touring. I mean, I was pretty busy with QR touring that most of our shows were on the East Coast, so it just kind of made sense instead of having to do an hour drive all the time and an hour to the airport, an hour back to the airport, living out here in San Jose, where we're back at. Now live via satellite incoming from Disney World. We have a maskless.
That's because I'm drinking.
Oh, there you go. Sterile.
Yeah.
That'll sterilize it.
He does better interviews when he drinks.
Disney lets us go maskless when we drink.
So we had moved out to Nashville, and it just made sense more for touring. And while we were out there, I wrote Homeland, and I was just writing songs, and I just I wasn't set on recording a Americana kind of country album, but it just kind of happened. A lot of those songs kind of write themselves out on the road. They're all lonely touring songs, and I felt like the best way for those to come across in their truest form was, bare bones and acoustic for the most part. Luckily, while I was out there, the guitar that I had written all those songs on was a Recording King, and their office happened to be in Nashville, and I got to know those guys very well, and I'm an endorsing artist for them, as well as The Lore, which is their other guitar group, and VHT Amps. So some really good things came out of that. And but then we since moved back to Santa Cruz, to our hometown, and we were still touring and stuff. And my I guess I just wasn't feeling much like I was being used to my full potential with that band, and just the sound of making my own music again and not having to answer to anybody for making it was, a lot sweeter. I didn't catch a lot of crap for making Homeland. I definitely got a little bit of it from them, but not too much. But just the fact that the music that we were making as a band wasn't the kind of music that I felt, could really be my potential of music to make. And just some other things that just led to, it's just better if I, continue and do not continue for the 2020 year. And when I made that choice and when we came to that agreement, it was what it was, and it happened when it happened. But shortly after that, Frontiers Records was the first email in my inbox. And I asked them kind of the thing that you ask a label is like, all right, what kind of album are you interested in me making? And they turned the question on me and they said, we want to know what kind of album you want to make. And I was like, all right, here we go. We're talking full on classic heavy metal, Dio, Priest, Sabbath, just a little bit of Maiden, some Blind Guardian, with a sprinkling of Ghost for groove and modern aesthetic, and away I went. And so, I started that journey early this year, and and I was getting these ideas and song ideas, and I'm more of I've always considered myself more just a rhythm guitar player, and try to look at guys like Malcolm Young, for instance, and Tony Iommi is more rhythm based, but still get down on a lead, as we all know, but very nice rhythm based guitar players, and I always considered myself to be more of that style. So when COVID hit, it was kind of like, okay, I don't have the opportunity to write with people now. I don't want to do Skype songwriting. So let me take this as an opportunity and as a challenge, instead of to try and pull song ideas in from different artists and different bands. One of the people I was texting with throughout this was Rob Halford himself. And Rob was just kind of like, I save every idea that I have. So you should do the same. Save every idea that you have, because you never know when you're going to need it. And so I went back into my phone and I listened to all these different song ideas and riff ideas that I had vocalized into my phone, and I transcribed those to guitar. And I wrote every riff on the album. I wrote every melody. I wrote every lyric. I demoed every song myself. I played it all. I played the shittiest bass you've ever heard, but some really killer guitar riffs, and was able to, pull all these ideas together and craft and create something that is beyond anything I really thought I was capable of doing. And at this point, these songs that have come out so far, Kings Before You, The Prince of Metal, the next one we're putting out on my birthday coming up January 6th is titled Evil Eye. And just, all leading up to the record release on February 12th, the beast will finally be awakened.
Dude, that's so awesome, man. That's so rad. Bobby Dreyer, I'm actually going to pull you in for the next segment, since I know we may have you like here and there. So why don't we bring you right in to give you some time, buddy?
Thanks, man. Hey, James, real quick. So
Yeah.
you mentioned Rob, and I'm going to throw something out, and my partner also be a metalhead who's happy, but also having a partner who was the author of the Americans with Disability Act. You never shunned away from your disability. You basically embraced it. How you didn't let it define you, but you also didn't let it take away from your talents. Have you seen it being used in a positive sense for you as being a musician and a singer?
Another great question. Yeah, I mean, for one, I don't consider them disabilities, because they don't disable me from anything. And that's, if I could tell the neurologist that told me that you have Tourette's and you have high functioning autism and these are going to be a burden on your life, if I could go back and tell Ching Wan, which was his name, Ching Wan, if I could go back and tell Ching something, it would be to not tell 10-year-old kids that they are suddenly abnormal and different and and not going to amount to much, because it took me a long time to get that out of my head and not live to that expectation that they set upon me. Was to be, they put me on medication when I was 10 or 11, Zoloft and Clonidine, and I took those till I was 16. And then at one point I decided, I don't want to take these. I don't want to take these prescriptions. If this is the person I'm supposed to be, I need to understand who I am, how to live with myself, and understand exactly just how not crippling, but how crippling this this is, how much of liability am I, so to speak, things like that. And so I took it in my own hands and figured out who I was and never looked back.
James,
Yeah.
I love you for that.
Thank you.
That's fabulous. We need more people like you. I love you for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. And I still speak to different, I go and do symposiums and keynotes and things at different events and charities and nonprofits and outreach programs with different cities. And those are things that I love doing. And I love meeting with kids and meeting with, people like me, younger than me, same age as me, older than me, and just kind of reassuring people that, your life is yours. And it doesn't really matter if somebody says that you have something or this is supposed to limit you to these certain expectations.
We can't thank you enough. And, Tony is very appreciative of everything you've done. And, just keep doing what you're doing and being you, man. You're going to, the stars.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, man. 100% for sure. That's always a great thing, for our show, for any show, really, any kind of interview, stuff like that. It's always been a very positive based show. We'll discuss, the sadness of various situations when it's relevant to those situations. But overall, this is a positive show, and those type of messages, man, we're all about it.
Awesome.
Good. Sure. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, man. 100%. Psycho Steve, it's about that time.
Okay. First of all, you brought up about disabilities. I, being a kid that grew up with a learning disability, I got kicked out of elementary school in 5th grade because I'm dyslexic. My teacher at the time called me retarded because I was really bad at math and really bad at reading. So I took a chair and I threw it at her.
Yeah.
My parents, my dad's a retired teacher, but he wasn't a teacher at the time. My parents got called into school, child 17. Exactly. So I was like, I told my parents what happened. I told the principal, I said, look, I'll own up to throwing a chair, but I'm sure I'm not retarded. So my parents had me take these tests, and then they found out I was dyslexic. So they took me out of school, and I went to a private school for 2.5 years in a very high affluent town called Princeton. Here I am with a Motley Crue shirt on, mullet, everything, with these kids that wore the Izod shirts and the preppy look. And, I come from a very blue collar, middle class family. And these kids, their parents are like CEOs of IBM and this, that, and everything. So I told everybody, I don't think I have a disability. I always say I'm American. I can do anything. And I just push forward. I have 2 small children. My oldest son is very, very good at math and everything, and he's smarter than his age. My youngest son has struggled a little bit, but we get into it, and I watch YouTube videos to learn math again. So I totally get it. And they tried to put me on medicine. I said no. Because, I was afraid what medicine's going to do to me because I'm already fucking Psycho Steve. Why do I need medicine? And I heard it does shit to your liver. And I'm like, alcohol is going to do it to me. So, so I just push forward, and I tell my kids and I tell other children and friends and everything that just take whatever you got and use it. That's why I did the radio thing, because that's what I'm passionate about. Music, my children, my girlfriend, my family here, and it's worked out.
Yeah.
The question I have for you, speaking, I'm going to go talk about the new album. You said you've been texting Rob Halford. Could we expect him on the new album?
He is not on the album.
Nothing? No writing credit? No, nothing?
He's in the thank yous. He's in the thank yous for what did I put him in the thank yous for? Just for support and guidance.
Right.
Yeah. We've kept in contact, and he's, whether he knows it or not, he's kind of been there when I needed needed somebody there or somebody to talk to, and it's really amazing. Like I got a text from him for Christmas, just the day Christmas Eve or the day before. We sent him a Christmas card, and he just said, "Merry Christmas to you and your family." I had sent him the album like a month ago, and he says he's been listening to it and loves it, and he's listened to it over and over. And that to me is just like, oh my God, this is crazy. It's so cool. And but just I'm very, very grateful, and never in a million years did I think that something like that would happen. But I've always believed that those things are possible. It's what you work for, how you work for it, and different things that might seem like something bad in life, a negative. They eventually all lead to positives, in one form or another. So that's really, really, really cool. Yeah, I was trying to get him on the album. He was doing a bunch of different things because he was finishing his book. He had to record the audiobook. They're working on a new Priest album, just all these different things. And so I was trying to come up with different ideas, like, how can I get you in here? How can I get you on this? And that's something that eventually I definitely guarantee to myself, and I'm making this affirmation to myself that I'll find a way to make it happen. But also just because I had Chris Jericho on the record and Phil Demmel, and I didn't want this to be a feature album at the same time. So once I knew I had Jericho, I really kind of rested on it. And yeah, I just want this album to kind of, it's my album. It's a Durbin record. I really want it to just be this new rebranding, this brand new thing, and not have to be overly reliant on guests to make it better.
Did you have to wrestle him for it? Because I know you're a diehard wrestling fan.
I didn't have to wrestle him. No, I just texted him. I said, if you were going to be on a concept album, what kind of character would you want to play? And he said either the villain, of course, or some kind of a wizard. And I was like, well, there's a song called Kings Before You that's about a wizard coming down on the dark side of a rainbow on a sacred mountain and talking to the Prince of Metal. And he's like, all right, yep, send me the song. He's another guy that's extremely, extremely busy and has his hands in his irons in so many different fires. And, we were doing a performance video and things, and that also happened to fall around the time that he was also extremely busy. But I came up with the idea of, okay, what if I'm talking to a crystal ball and I can impose his face in the crystal ball and be speaking to him through the ether, and send him a couple ideas. And he sent back a killer beyond my script, far beyond my script, calling me the Keeper of the Seven Keys and the Master of the Realm and the Captain of the Chronicle, and just all these Jericho-isms that he's so famous for coming up with. And it was very, very grateful to have him contribute that extra little bit as much as he could to it, which just made it to be that much more special.
Awesome.
Oh, right on, man. That's super duper cool for sure. Jason, man, let's kick it over to you, brother. It's time for you.
So, James, how did you get into music? What got you started? Like what influenced you, and what made you want to go down that road?
Well, music was always on. I remember music was on a lot, always in the car, driving my sisters and I to school. They had to be at school earlier than I did, so I would get to listen to whatever they wanted to listen to, which at the time was pop stations, and we had a station here called K-Don that played, all the pop and the Madonna, and I was born in '89, so this is stuff that's playing in like the mid to late '90s, and New Kids on the Block, just stuff like that. Random whatnot, but we also had a Motown station and oldies 105, and I fell in love with Motown, and I learned soul. I learned rhythm. I learned, how to really sing from the soul. And fell in love with bands like Marvin Gaye and Al Green and Temptations and the Jacksons, and then found Michael Jackson, and then saw like, oh, well, shit, this is like the pinnacle of one's craft. This is what it looks like when somebody masters their craft to the most extreme level. And that was the first time that I had really seen that, and was like, oh my God, like that's possible. That's somebody can not even be on stage and the audience is going apeshit just for their like coming arrival, and then they come up through the floor in like a space egg, and then they're screaming and people are fainting and getting carried out of the concert that they waited for 6 hours to see this guy. And then the egg opens up and he's wearing a helmet and like space shin guards that are like spray painted gold and shit. And then he like stands there for another 3 minutes, and then he takes a couple steps out and then very slowly puts his hands on his helmet. Like, this is all over the course of 15 minutes, and you can do this, and people will stand by the thousands and scream bloody murder for their love and adoration for you. And then you take off the helmet, you stand there, and you look like Elizabeth Taylor and Diana Ross in one, and they're just losing their minds, crying blood. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And so I really loved Michael Jackson growing up, and I'm sure he would have loved me too. But sorry, come on. And but I was obsessed with music. If I found something I like, I consumed it. And so with Michael, I had a sparkly glove. I had the silk socks with the, black dress shoes. I did the hat. I learned all the dance moves. I consumed it. It's part of the autistic part of my thinking. And I latch on to things, which has been very great for a lot of things in life. And following that, I got into musical theater, and I did that for half of my young childhood, from like age 9 until 19, so for a good 10 years, which led me to my first band, which was a metal band called Leviathan, where at the time I got to use my influences of My Chemical Romance, but also Freddie Mercury and Dio, blending those. And it was a weird mixture. You can make all the faces you want, but when I think about it too, I'm like, we needed a stylist and a good producer. But you got to get in a room and you got to suck. That's the thing with music. You have to suck at some point. No one picks something up and is like Steve Vai all of a sudden. You got to start somewhere. And so that was where I started. The theater stuff really made a big difference on me, because I found before I had found metal and really heavy rock, it was all theater. And I found a show called Jesus Christ Superstar, and I devoured as many different performers that had performed that role. Ian Gilliam. Then you've got the guy that performed him in the 1970s film, Mr. Ted Neely, who would go on to portray Jesus until he was like in his 70s. Jesus died like mid-20s, so it's funny. But just going for it. There was a guy named Drew Sarich that I found a video on, and he was very, very instrumental in me finding my scream, my stamp on a scream, because there's so many guys that do it, but they're all individual. They all have their own individual character. And so I'd sit at the computer at my mom's house growing up while she was off taking care of her mom who was sick in the hospital. And I was home alone. I'd turn up the speakers as loud as they'd go, and I'd try and sing along with everybody that I was listening to. The Bruce Dickinson, Dio, Halford, Sebastian Bach, Miljenko Matijevic from Steelheart. Just the list goes on and on. Rob Halford. I already said Rob Halford. Robert Plant. More and more and more. Miles Kennedy. Axl. In that order. And just try to devour as much music as possible and be influenced by it. And even to this day, I listen to everything, almost everything. I've been listening for the past few years. I've listened to a lot of country. I love me some Willie Nelson, some Waylon Jennings, some Merle Haggard, some Chris Christopherson, some Johnny Paycheck. the old Dwight Yoakam from time to time, and then the newer stuff. Eric Church is a beast, and the most metal concert I've been to, an experience with my own eyes, was Eric Church. Was a country concert. He had Hailstorm open for him, and halfway through his show, he had a 50-foot inflatable Satan with its hand curled out and flames coming out of it in the back of the arena.
Wow.
Yeah. Country's the new arena rock.
Country's
Nice.
new metal.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Hey.
But I just love music. Love music. Love making music.
Nice. James, really quick. My daughter just wants to say hello to you.
Yeah.
If that's okay. Just say hi. Hi, James. Go say hi, James.
You're frozen.
Say hello, James.
Hi. You're frozen. I can't see you.
Okay.
I see your forehead. Oh, there you are. Hi.
There you go.
You're still frozen, but I still see you.
All right. Thank you.
Of course.
That's super duper awesome. Angel, man, let's bring you in, man. How are the Metal Summoners doing, and how is James Outcast Army doing?
Oh, a lot of love. Let me just start from the top and take a deep breath. Bobby Dreyer, yeah, we know that guy already. Star Peters, thank you for watching. Jenny is head. Matt Porter, welcome back, dude. Doug J.M. Brock, thank you for watching. Steve, I know that ugly dude. Oh, hey, Steve, how's it going? I
Hey,
was just reading your comments. Kathy Smith. We got 2 questions. Our first question of the night comes from Lonnie Hammer. Lonnie Hammer from Hammer Down wants to know. Sorry, something happened to my screen, but it's rock and roll. Okay, there it is. Lonnie Hammer wants to know, how was it working with Frankie B?
How was it? There was a lot. It was great. Working. I mean, let me rephrase this. I'm not going to talk about working with him. I'm going to talk about playing with him. I'm going to talk about spending time with him. Because working, the person you work for is a completely different person than the person that you perform with and spend your time with. So performing with him, I mean, my ears are still ringing. I have played every drummer I've played with hits those fucking skins like they owe them some serious money, and especially an Italian dude from Queens beats them extra hard just because. But yeah, such a player. Just knew every nuance that there could have been in all of those songs, and night after night, getting to, in a way, and I say this in an endearing way, but getting to be backed up by somebody that has that much force and passion for what they're doing, and getting to be the front person for that guy was a lot of fun. But we also got to spend a lot of really good times together, a lot of great memories. Currently, I'm 31. I think I'm 31. I turned. Take a shot. I turned 32 in a couple days. But so I'm a much younger guy than those guys, and also mentally, I like to go to arcades and I like to play skee ball and go karting and all that shit. So it was a lot of fun for me to kind of bring that youth to those guys. And we got Frankie out of his room from watching CNN, and I got him at the go-kart track where he whooped all our asses. And then we went into the arcade and we were playing skee ball and all this shit, pinball, and it was just a ton of fun. We got to celebrate his birthday with him in Mexico. We were in where were we? We were in Guadalajara, and just in some old little town center. at some beautiful little restaurant, and they had the mariachi band come over and just listen to him laugh his ass off, and all these people coming around, and just a ton of fun. Yeah, that's the guy I like to remember. Is the one that was always laughing, the one that was doing all that shit. I also filmed a couple of like tour vlogs that are up on my YouTube page, and those are just fun ways to look back and remember those times. There's some good laughs there. Going to Walmart in Mexico and just laughing at stupid board games and shit, and just situations. Like some of the gigs we played were just like, who booked this shit? You know, some of it's like Spinal Tap. Like we're out on like a pine wood stage made of logs in the middle of nowhere on someone's property. None of us have cell service. There's mud everywhere. There's like 40 people, and it was full blown Spinal Tap at some points. But just, you know, seeing somebody laugh through those parts. Some of the parts there was laughter. Some of them there was screaming. But the laughter moments were great. Yeah.
Cool.
We were all screaming, technically.
We got Kim Sullivan. Kim, thank you so much for promoting this show over the last few days. Kim wants to know, how did you feel when Revolver magazine listed you as one of the 100 greatest living rock stars?
That's funny. I came across that magazine the other day. And it's just one of those like pinch yourself moments. I mean, you know, on one hand, any magazine can publish anything they want, but on the other hand, to be regarded by their opinion amongst everyone that I was being regarded with, I mean, 100 isn't a lot. 100 really isn't a lot, and that was a real special honor. It's not something I hang on the wall. It's in a box somewhere in the garage. I don't hang up any accolades or anything like that. Maybe if I had a gold record or something, I might do that. But you know, but yeah, it's something I definitely cherish and remember fondly. The Revolver people were great. You know, they invited me to the Golden God Awards. That was a blast. And yeah, a lot of good people out there, and a lot of things I'm very grateful for.
Awesome. Our buddy Matt Porter has a question. Was it easier or tougher that many knew you first as an American Idol contestant? And did that help or hurt you?
I mean, of course it helped. I mean, why would it hurt to have millions of people know your name already and be familiar with your face and your name? I don't see how that hurts at all. You know, everything's a challenge. Think of the challenge that it's going to be if you're a nobody. If nobody knows your face and knows your name, think of it. And I know how that is also, because there's millions that don't know billions that don't know who the hell I am and don't care about TV or American Idol. So it's as big as a help as it is a hindrance. And, you know, it's the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. How it is to be, you know, somebody that came from American Idol and is still trying to make do with it. And I don't talk crap about Idol. I'm very, very grateful and thankful for the opportunities that provided. But it, you know, like I said, it also provides plenty of obstacles and all that stuff. I can't remember the producer right now. I'm trying to remember his name, but he produced some stuff for Sabbath and just big rock producer. I'm trying to remember his name, Bob something. But anyway, I was doing a songwriting session with him, and he didn't want to be there. You know, we went out to breakfast or something because something happened. But we were hanging out, and he was like, I don't get this shit. I don't get this Idol stuff, whatever. And I told him every detail, every single little thing that they put us through, every ringer. It doesn't matter that it's over the course of, you know, if you last and you're able to last as long as some last, and very grateful for my 4th place positioning. If you're able to last that far, they put you through a lot of shit in a really short amount of time, mentally, physically, emotionally especially. And after that conversation, he was like, shit, man, consider this breakfast on me, because I would never go through that shit. And that is more metal than most of the things that the people that come in here making records have ever done. So that was very appreciative.
And I have a question. I guess once everything, the dust settles and touring can resume, uh, would you tour overseas, to different countries like Europe, South America? Is that on the cards for
Absolutely.
you to tour?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
I'd love to. I feel like this album is tailor made for, for fans in those countries and the types of music that people really appreciate all over the world and don't necessarily appreciate as much here in the U.S. Of course, my record label, Frontiers, they're based out of Italy, so Italy will definitely be a stop, and the rest of Europe. And I've not been to South America. I've not been to Europe except for one time where we recorded the One Night in Milan live show at the Frontiers Rock Festival. And that was it. We were literally there for like less than 48 hours, and that's the maximum amount of time that I've spent in Europe. I've only been to the U.S. and Philippines, Canada. Does Canada count? And Mexico.
Yeah, Canada counts.
That's it. But just North America and
We love Canada
and the Philippines. That's the farthest reaches of my extended stays. So anywhere I can get out to and deliver this music and perform it and give people a hell of a show and something they're going to remember, that's where I want to be.
Awesome.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, and you touched on it earlier, was being familiar with like Broadway and musicals and stuff like that. And you actually had like a cool yourself like doing things in Broadway, like doing stuff with like Grease, doing things with like Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that, and like being involved in like any kind of like stage performance like that, especially with things like Grease and Beauty that are so well like renowned still now. Did it help you when it came to being on stage?
Absolutely. I mean, I my first time on stage, I can't remember if I was 9 or 10. No, I was a little younger, maybe 9. My sister had the lead in her high school play of Damn Yankees, not the 80s metal band, but the show about baseball. About the Senators, not the actual Yankees. I think they were playing the Yankees, but we never saw them because it's about the other team. Those damn Yankees. And I went to every show. I went to every performance that she was in. I fell in love with the music, the performance, the fact that these high school kids could get on stage, put on costumes and makeup, and transform into different characters. And maybe it was just this pool of talent, the specific class. But they were really good, and they made a lasting impression on me. So I went every night. I put on my baseball pants, my cleats from T-ball. I got a show shirt. They gave me a show hat. I'd sit there with a can of mud root beer or Bargs or Dad's. I can't remember which one it was. And a box of Junior Mints, most likely. And I'd sit and I'd consume the show. And the very last night of that performance, of that production, they pulled a little 8 or 9-year-old me up on stage. For one scene, they put me in. They had me play Death. They had me play the Grim Reaper and chase some girls in sleepwear off from one side of the stage to the other, and then the other thing was they put me up on stage in my baseball uniform and had me sing "While We Think About the Game," and they pushed me up to the front. I found a picture of it. I've got it. I'm doing this on my phone, or else I'd show you. But they pushed me up to the front, and that's when I realized that, okay, it's not just Michael Jackson that can stand on stage and sway people's emotions and take them on this journey in the palm of their hand. It's anybody can do this. Anybody has the chance to do it. Doing it well, that's an art. And being able to read an audience and take them there, whether they're willing to or not. There's ways that you can make the audience go where you want them to go. And I've got addicted to figuring that out and addicted to the adulation and that attention. It's changed over the years. And, from the later plays that I did, and I haven't done a musical since I was 19. My last one was Singing in the Rain. And, but I learned so much about me throughout that. Back to the disability thing. I had a theater teacher named Robin Aronson. She asked my mom and found out that I had these different ailments and whatnot. And she went out and got books. At the time, internet wasn't such a popular thing, or the information available wasn't there. So she went out and got the books that she could and learned about what I had. And she saw something in me that when I was on stage, I didn't have any of those things. Those things weren't even an option. And she took me off and to the side, and she kind of said, like, okay, I understand you've got this going on and that going on, but when you're on stage, those things disappear, don't they? I said, yeah, basically. And it's because I'm portraying a different character. So she said, write the character that you want to portray off stage. Create the character that you want to be. You watch wrestling, you like comic books and superhero movies. Be the character you want to be. Figure out who that guy is, and you can embody that character off stage, and you can find yourself to be more comfortable. And I did that. And suddenly I was able to make eye contact with people when I talked to them. I never put my head down anymore. I connected with people. I found a way to look into the soul of every individual on the other end, the other side of the stage, the person, the other side of the counter at Burger King, just whatever it was, anywhere I could do that. Sometimes it was with an accent. Sometimes it wasn't. I delivered pizzas before Idol, and I'd drive around in my wife happened to have a Mercedes at the time, so I was rolling large and delivering za for Domino's, and I'd put in my CD of whatever metal I was listening to, and I'd put the windows down, driving down the highway, just screaming, figuring it out, learning the ins and outs, and then I'd pull up to somebody's house and be all right, here's your pizza. All right, thank you very much. I've got the receipt here. Would you like to sign it? And figure out, like, okay, the performing aspect of things. How do people react differently to how you perform differently? If somebody gets on stage and is like, all right, you motherfuckers, we're going to fucking rock. They react differently than when you just walk on stage and start playing and pull them in and figure it out. There's different ways to perform and different ways to do that. And so, I used that with delivering pizzas. Did they tip more if I was Australian? Did they tip more if I was South African? It's just different things. You just work with it. It's the fun of it. The fun of performing.
Oh, for sure, man. Definitely.
They tipped
I think
more
it's kind of
when I
cool
was
too that you
Australian.
talked about hell yeah. No, and I think it's cool that you talked about Michael Jackson, because I always like Michael Jackson too. And it was funny because I remember watching a documentary one time about his performance at the Super Bowl, when he just made everybody wait and wait and wait. And they were showing it on the camera from the producers, where the producers got to the point where they were screaming into his ear for him to trigger the band. And then I'm sure you saw the documentary for what would have been that big tour he was going to do. But he actually talks about doing that thing where he calls it the sizzle. That whole just letting it build and sizzle and letting the crowd just build and build and build until you're ready for it. So I just think that's really, really cool about, your interest in being a fan of him, and then how it kind of led to that building of a persona and stuff like that on stage. It's definitely very, very cool.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was also pro wrestling. That sizzle is there too. It's when you've got, when both guys are at a stalemate and it's 20 minutes into a match and everybody's invested, they stay down on the mat. They don't just get back up. They're down there. They're saying, okay, wait for it. And it's that intensity, that expectation. You're waiting. What's going to happen. It's going to happen, and you're waiting for it. You just don't know when. It's like a comedian. It's when that punchline finally delivers, that setup. It's the setup. You don't know when it's going to happen, and then bam, it happens, and then people just lose their mind. It's the drop in EDM. It's exactly. If Macho Man Randy Savage were here, he'd say, "Oh yeah, it's the sizzle. Yeah, you feel it. Wait till the timing is right. Yeah, come on down. Yeah."
Absolutely. Oh God, that's the best part of the interview so far.
Okay,
Sure. Yeah, Bobby, jump on in here, man. It's your time.
Okay, James. So I'm going to hit you. I had a couple cocktails, so I can go inappropriate. So here is it. You're on American Idol. Halford just came out. You know, he just, left. Ripper Owens is in. So I got to ask you, did he break the law with you?
To break the law, we sang breaking the law. What's the law? No,
point,
they
point of,
Halford and the guys, they invited me to dinner. We had an awesome dinner.
Oh my,
I didn't know what I was walking into at the dinner.
I love Rob. I love Rob. A lot of people. But I got to ask if he did he go? Hey James, how you doing, buddy?
No, it was all very cordial. He's always been very, very, very kind and warm. It's the British thing. It's just the kind cordial warmness, I suppose. But no, the priest camp invited me out to a dinner before the performance. And that was nice. I didn't know what I was going to walk into. I didn't know. I didn't know if there were going to be, men in G-strings walking by. I didn't know if we were going to be eating sushi off of some guy's body or something. I don't know. But, talking to my wife on the way there, like, I don't know what I'm walking into. I just have no idea. And, but no, we all sat down. We had tea and ate. It was very wonderful. Everyone spoke in a very low voice. It was very nice. It was KK Downing had just made his exit from the band, and so it was Richie Faulkner's first performance with Judas Priest was on American Idol.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's another very fun little piece of metal history I got to be a part of.
Just got kicked off the table by Tony for being loud in a public place.
Well, we know that's Bobby. We know that's you, brother.
Yeah.
But Psycho Steve, let's kick it over to you, brother.
Okay, it's a two-part question. The first question is, you talked about Broadway and acting. If you got to present like a role to you in any Broadway show, what would it be?
It would probably be. I mean, I never want to do anything. Like, the most important thing to me is my family, is my wife, is my kids, the relationship I have with them, the trust I have with them, and so it's never anything that had any sort of romantic part whatsoever. So it would definitely have to be, like, I've turned down Dancing with the Stars numerous times because I have no interest in dancing with somebody else. But
Can you dance?
oh, I can cut a fucking rug. I can, like, it's nobody's business. I can pop. I can lock. I can cut a rug till the cows come home.
Nice.
And I do so every day. I dance every day. It's something you got to try to do. Dance a little bit, even if it's just a little hip shake. And I like to dance like an old white guy. That too. That's funny. Like an old white guy, just doesn't care. He's just got his hands up. He's just dancing like a little chicken or something, doing a little something. Total dad. The older I get, it's dad dances. But yeah, I've always different shows I do. This time last year, I was down in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, doing a show at the Hard Rock Resort there, and they brought me in to be the token rock and metal guy. But then you have to do the ensemble group numbers as well, and you gotta. Yeah, we were doing what were we doing? Big River, keep on to Proud Mary. We're doing Proud Mary. We got to come in, and I got to like pretend like I'm pushing a broom and do that. But it's like when they tell you at first, it's like, oh, why did I sign up for this shit? But then when you do it and it's showtime, you're like, turning it up to 11. That's what you got to do. You got to get it in the moment. But the show, to answer your question, finally, 10 minutes later, this is me. Nothing's short in here. So it would probably be Jesus Christ Superstar. I just really love that show, and I love the chance to portray those characters and the music, what you can do with the music, where you can go with it, if you're Jesus or Judas. Because the guy I grew up watching portray that part, Drew Sarich, there's footage of him doing both, and he is a killer just this killer guttural, kind of like Jared Leto at his best, guttural kind of scream. He puts that into it, and it's a little bit of that, and it's a little bit of Jeff Tate, and it's a very, very nice, gritty Jesus and Judas. So either one of those roles would be a blast to play. But I know that schedule is grueling, so I'm not sure I would want to do that. One of the guys from Idol, David Cook, he did a show called Kinky Boots, which Cyndi Lauper wrote, and he recently got off a stint doing that. And, it was freaking 8 shows a week, something like that. Like, you get 1 day off. You do 2 shows on Sunday, you get 1 day off. So that's grueling. I'm not sure I can handle that. And I'm a small town California kid. I'm not very comfortable in New York, in the city, on the outskirts. I'm all for it. They got good weed there. It's fun. It's chill, and you get out there in the Catskills. But deep in the city is I get claustrophobic, and what's that other word? I can't think of it. It's gone.
The second part of my question.
Vertigo. That's what.
Got it. The other question is, we talked about wrestling before. What would your wrestling name be?
Oh, it's always been Crazy James.
Okay.
It's always been. Hold on, real quick. It's always been Crazy James. So, I've always collected like wrestling masks, and the first one I ever wanted I wanted it because of what it looked like. I didn't know who the wrestler was. It's an old luchador called the Shocker, and this is his mask. And this has always been the Crazy James mask, and I haven't put it on in a while, so we'll see if it still fits. There we go.
We don't even recognize you.
Yeah, this is the Crazy James mask, man. Come out here, you start talking like this,
Cool, we got a guest on the show.
You don't know what he's gonna do, Yeah, the blue-eyed gringo, Crazy James.
Yep, we got a new guest, Blue-Eyed Gringo. We want to welcome you. Oh, yeah. Hey,
come on down to the ring, man. But yeah, we've got all sorts of masks here. We got who's this guy? We got Psychosis. We got Psychosis here. We got this one, Santo. We got the Santo mask.
Santo.
I don't know who this guy is, but he's got teeth. He's kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, we got.
Oh, we can just call that one Psycho Steve.
We'll call that Psycho Steve. We got I forget what this was. Sin Cara was a WWE, but before that, he had this mask, and I forget what his name was in Mexico. Of course, we've got the Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio,
who I've got tattooed here. I've got a Mother Mary, Lady Guadalupe, but it's got a Rey Mysterio mask on, and it says Lady Guadalucha. Yeah. So. And then, of course, the most famous luchador, we have Mr. Nacho
Libre.
I was literally just about to ask you about that.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, we just ended up with like 6 guests on this episode.
Yeah, you did.
That's a record.
That is a record.
And then they all fit nicely into the biggest one. The guy with the biggest head.
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's
Wow.
so loud. Well, Jason, we got to find a way to have you follow that up, man.
You could wear a mask if you want.
Well, I was gonna follow it up with Nacho Libre, but he beat me to it. But that's pretty cool. But so 2 things. One is you took your hat off. Has anybody ever told you how much you look like James Vanderbeek?
I've seen that before, and I saw it, and Maybe. I don't know.
Who
They
knows?
said I look like some dude that played the Green Lantern on something. Somebody said I look like Jennifer Lawrence from the Hunger Games. She could be. I think my wife said that she could be my sister, but she doesn't look much like my sister. And once upon a time, when I had a better hairline, I got like a pale Taylor Lautner, a pale, not handsome Taylor Lautner, the dude that played like the werewolf on
Yeah.
what's
Twilight?
that?
Team
Twilight. Yeah. Look at that.
Jacob. Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question is
Baron Corbin, WWE wrestler Baron Corbin. I also got him.
King
oh,
Corbin.
okay.
Yeah. I met him randomly at the Dallas airport, waiting for a connection for a QR show, and we had just had like an interaction. He was just on a podcast I listened to, and there were some pictures surfaced of me at WrestleMania, and people were like, "Oh, look, it's a young Baron Corbin." No, it was me. It was really trippy that we looked very similar.
That's cool. So you've done some impersonations earlier, and I thought that they were very well. Have you ever thought about doing any like stand-up comedy or anything like that, or maybe auditioning for like Saturday Night Live? I think that impersonations can get you into that.
I don't have the stamina for that, and I don't think I'm funny enough. With the SNL things, like they all write their own skits, and that's where they come from. There are writers, but for the most part, they're writing their own and trying to get things to pass. I like delivery, but I don't think I could ever write my own stand-up. If I worked with a writer, I would definitely try it, but that's not something that's ever been on the list. But what I've been able to do is voiceover work, and this year has been really, really great with voiceover work, and a lot of it. In addition to making my album and playing backyard parties for people all over, California and Oregon, it's voiceover has been the main place where I've
What
made my
voiceover?
income.
What voiceover work have you done that we might know that maybe we didn't know it was you?
Nothing. Nothing. Unless
Yeah, I
your kids,
remember that one.
Unless your kids play with the Amazon Alexa, then no. But for Alexa, it's been it's been all Disney products. I've been working exclusively with Disney on those, with their contract with Amazon.
Yeah,
And I've
Bobby
done.
will love that.
Huh?
I said Bobby will love that.
Yeah, right, exactly. One of the big ones I just finished up was Frozen, stuff for Frozen, a program called Frozen Sing, which is kind of a guided karaoke performance thing where I assume the role of this character, and he talks like this in the mountains of Arendelle, and now you'll sing with Elsa, and singing backup for like Idina Menzel for
Wait a minute, that's
Frozen
you?
songs. Singing Into the Unknown and Let It Go and shit, singing backup for that product, for instance, and some ancillary characters for some Star Wars adventures, some Choose Your Destiny audio adventures, singing new versions of classic Disney songs for a program called Disney Remix, where it plays the traditional version, which is also sometimes it's a dub, like for Aladdin, for A Whole New World. I did the Aladdin stuff. And then, it does the regular version, and then it says, Alexa, remix. And suddenly it goes to a disco version where I do a Tom Jones version of it. But the music is provided and the performance is all, what I want to do. So it's fun at the same time. It's instructed, but it's also a lot of creative freedom, and that's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm a big pop culture guy and a Disney head and a Harry Potter fanatic, and I've got Rey Mysterio and Popeye and Spider-Man tattoos and a Pusheen cat and a Stitch from Lilo and Stitch on my bed, and a Harry Potter room under the stairs full of Harry Potter shit. So, I'm very much guilty as charged.
The closet under the stairs. That's all.
Were you one of
we call
those
it the
that-
room of requirement?
Were you one of those that waited in line for the Harry Potter books when they came out?
No, I wasn't there. I did the books later in life, but definitely obsessed with the movies and definitely very obsessed with the just the lore of it. Like some people have the stuff for Star Wars. I've got my wand and I've got my Marauders map, and I'm not one of those weirdos that has a cloak or anything. But I could take it a lot farther than I've taken it. A room under the, a cupboard under the stairs that happens to be there, filled with the Harry Potter stuff you happen to also own. It's just kind of why wouldn't you put it there?
Absolutely, for sure, man. Absolutely. So real quick, Angel, before I kick it over to you, man, I'm gonna say hi to the people that back us for this show, and I'm gonna kick it to Steve for a quick shout out as well. But we always want to take a second to thank. Real quick, actually, before I get into that, I have to ask James this question: what house are you?
Well, I've been Ravenclaw for a while, but I just took it again, and I'm a Slytherin. So.
Okay. Now, well, I guess
Slytherin.
because you're back to metal. So.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I'm making darker choices in my house exam. Yeah.
Nice. That's so awesome.
I want the black glove and the dagger instead of the ornate mirror.
Oh, nice, dude. That's badass for sure. But we always want to take a second to give a shout out to the endorsers of this show. We really appreciate you guys so much for, backing us, taking pride in what we do and wanting to grow with us as we continue to grow ourselves. So we always want to thank Bradley Entertainment for everything that they do, Brad, Angie, and Dawn, that make that and all of their great shows. We always want to thank TMS alumni, Brad and Janet, and Rock and Horror Apparel for clothing some of the members of this show and everything that they do, and as well also being guests of this show. We want to thank Sarah and Cadaver, Twisted Vines Horror Decor out of Rhode Island, and of course we want to thank Levy Metal Enterprises, Levin Lewis, for everything he does, custom guitars and stage gear. We really appreciate you guys, stage props and all that stuff. Thanks so much for getting with us at the ground level and showing love to us for sure. Anybody who wants to be involved with us, reach out to us so we can talk, so we can help build you guys as we grow as well. And then real quick, I'm going to kick it over to Steve because Steve's got some thank yous of his own that he wants to give out this evening.
Well, Metal Summit cannot be not just us, meaning me, Jay, Jason, Angel, Bobby. I want to say thank you to everybody that has started this with us and it's going to continue with us, such as Kim, Star, Matt. There's so many other people I'm probably leaving out, and no disrespect to them. A blanket thank you to all of you for subscribing, sharing the page, liking the page, giving us input about what we could do to make us better and make it fun for all of us. Because, we're almost a full year in this COVID shit, and it sucks. But, hopefully this will bring us all closer when we all get together. We can all have a group hug and go see James rock out and other artists that we've had on our show. And even if we don't drink, like have a glass of water, chocolate milk like me, or whatever, and, start 2021 and say, fuck COVID, fuck cancer. That's it. And that's just rock and roll all night and party every day.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%. No, well said, Steve. And we appreciate all the summoners so much for really getting down for us, because we got some more tricks to pull out of the bag. But speaking of those summoners and the Outcast Army, Angel, it's all you all day, brother.
Okay, man. I just need to wipe some tears off my eyes right now. That was really beautiful, Psycho.
I didn't even write it.
I know you didn't write it.
I don't
I
remember.
ordered for you.
Thank you.
No problem. Anytime. Okay, yes, definitely got some good questions from the fans. Um, Kim Sullivan wants to know: are you still a pyromaniac?
In what way? No, not really. Short answer.
Jackie
Go on.
wants to know: how did you feel being the front man for Quiet Riot?
At what point?
At any point.
Well, they're all very different. But at this point, looking back on it, grateful for the experience, gained memories, and the countless memorable shows and the opportunities nightly to earn new fans, and the memories, just the memories as friends, the good shit, inhale the good shit, exhale the bullshit. Try to do that as much as possible.
Cycle Steve, write that
plenty
down.
of each.
What do you think I'm doing?
Good idea. Kathy Smith, she said, I heard someone say this new album is a movie. Can we expect more music videos?
I hope so. Filming anything requires a budget of some sort, and if there's no budget, then I don't know how we're going to film anything. But we'll figure it out. I've got a lot of ideas, and figuring out ways to do those on no budget or on minimal budget. The music video for the Prince of Metal was done on a shoestring budget. Very, 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 very small budget. And the performance video for Kings Before You, though it didn't really tell much of a story, it kind of did at the beginning. That was just an idea and cost nothing but time and effort. Fake it till you make it, really. I mean, I one day I got a computer and it had Photoshop on it, and I just started clicking buttons and figuring shit out and designing merch. And that same computer had Logic Pro 10 or Pro X on it, and I did the same. Started clicking buttons and figuring shit out, and demoed songs, and ended up making my entire Homeland album on that program and on that computer. Demoed my current album, Beast Awakens, on that computer as well. So it's just figuring it out. I'd like to do some other things, maybe a comic book, maybe a graphic novel or something, and maybe a accompanying manual to it at some point. Some D&D figures would be cool of the characters, or whatever. Just kind of it's the realm. It's my realm. So I can do whatever the fuck I want in my realm, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, if y'all want to come to the realm sometime, let me know.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
And I got a wrestling related question from Matt Porter, who's a big Ultimate Warrior fan, by the way. He wants to know, if you were a professional wrestler, who would you want a match with, and could you do a promo on the spot against that person?
Oh, probably not. No. Last time I tried that, it was stupid. I think at one point I said that I would want to match with The Miz. I was doing some stuff with WWE, and I kind of said I'd want to match with The Miz. And I forget what I would say. It's because Mike, The Miz Mizanin. We had dinner that one time, remember? You, me, Jericho, three-way dance, sharing a plate of house s'mores at Boa on Sunset Boulevard, and you ghosted us. We got 3 spoons, brother. I thought you could get down on a plate of dessert. I thought you were better than that. But I suppose all of those were fabricated, much like your TV shows, bro. So, if you ever want to meet me in the ring, I'll be ready, and I'll be waiting. 2 spoons. And if you really want to challenge, leave your spoon at home.
Vince
We're
McMahon.
gonna share the same spoon to eat dessert. I don't know.
Yeah. You made Psycho Steve want to stand up and
Yeah, for you.
trophy.
Oh, I got the
Trophy.
Is there the world's smallest violin in there too?
Well, that's the money we had on our budget.
All right. Yeah.
But we could sell Psycho Steve on eBay to try to get you like a big trophy. Not a bad idea. We still end up with a small trophy.
You probably owe money.
right.
I owe them
Send you a
enough
bill.
money.
You got to land WWE or AEW as an endorser of this show because of that.
Hey, let's
Well,
get it. Well,
Durbin
if it's AEW, we got to change it to Jericho and fabricate a story. Although he is the one that ordered the dessert and chowed down, so
Absolutely.
there's no beef, no squabble.
Oh, trust me, we've got our eyes on Chris for this show, and we're prepared, knowing that that's going to be like a 4-hour episode.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Angel, keep
Cool.
rocking, bro.
I have a 2-part question. The first question is, what song, album, or artist influenced you to become a musician, and what was the first instrument that you ever bought?
First instrument, I got given a hand-me-down guitar when I was 9, and I still have that guitar. It's a piece of crap, a POC, genuine POC, and the first song I taught myself to play was "Heartbreak Hotel" by Elvis Presley.
Wow.
There you go. That's what I got.
That's cool. Back to you, Jay.
Yeah, no problem, man, for sure. So I got one thing I wanted to ask you that kind of hit me based off the fans before I get into like my own question. It's simple enough because I mean, you're a pro, you've been singing for a long time, you had already built up, your career before this, but about 3 years or so before you even joined QR is when the documentary came out. And anybody that had been a fan of QR was, of course, it's very common knowledge, Frankie's relationship with Kevin, as well as because of the documentary, it was really brought to light the background and back history of Quiet Riot singers. First, had you seen the documentary before you were in the band? And was there anything about singing for the band, knowing that they'd had a little bit of a rocky road when it comes to singers, that made you really sharpen your own skills or maybe come at the gig more aggressively?
Oh, I came at the gig as I go at anything, which is to bring any gig that I do. I set my expectation to 0, and I go in guns a-blazing, and as soon as I get on mic for anything the first time, I give them 10. I give them 11, 12. 1,000. I mean, anytime you're trying to prove anything to anybody, which is anytime you're in my profession, is anytime you get behind a microphone, anytime you get on stage, anytime you're put on the spot in that way, deliver your best. You don't know if it's the last time you're going to perform. If there's 15 people in the house, perform like it's fucking Wembley. Who cares? It might not mean anything to you, but it's going to mean a hell of a lot to the people that paid their hard-earned money to go there and see you. And even if they're not there to see you, even if they're there for the opening band, you have the opportunity to gain a new fan. My wife and I, we watched the documentary after I had already joined.
Oh.
Yeah, and we looked at each other and we said, "Oh shit." Yeah, I didn't know any of that shit before. Yeah. Had I watched the movie beforehand, I might not have joined, but I don't like to think of those sorts of things, even for all the stresses it caused and the hairline that receded. I'm still very, thankful for any opportunity and any experience to gain wisdom. And those experiences led me to the experiences that I'm having now. Those experiences led me to a talking relationship with Frontiers. Those experiences led me to making The Beast Awakens. Those experiences led me to having a fruitful 2020 and, having things to look forward to and things to keep me fighting and keep me going, which led me to more financial success this year than I've had in the previous 4.
Yeah.
You know, I really try not to look at anything as a negative. When you're in it, it's the shits. when you're in the shits, it is the shits, and it's okay to call it such. But yeah, looking back on things, I don't like to look at the bad stuff and zero in on it and say, man, I wish that never happened. It's easy to, and there are things that, yeah, if I could keep the present and change things in the past, I definitely absolutely would in a heartbeat, but you can't, so why even give that any attention, you know?
Cool, man. And my main question, honestly, dude, I'm not even gonna fucking bullshit you on this one. This question's for me. You got to work with one of my loves out there. I got to know how it was for you working with Hardcore Superstar.
That was awesome. It really, really was. I mean, I had no expectation when I told the record label at the time that I was with, Wind Up, and the producer, Howard Benson, and my former management at 19 after Idol. I had no expectation of what would happen. I just said, this is my favorite band at the time, and I would love if we could reach out to them and see if they have any songs, unreleased songs, or if they would write a song. They sent back 2 songs, one of which being the song that I recorded, which was Outcast, which was a song that was cut from their song pool during the Dreamin' in a Casket record, which is also like an extra added bonus for me. Like, not only did Hardcore Superstar send me a song, but it was cut from Dreamin'. And they also sent Martin, the bass player, and Yoke, singer. They sent a song that was unfinished. That I still have the demos for Outcast and for the unfinished song. I think it was called "I'll Never Be the Same," and it was a ballad. And up to that point, I mean, I think up to that point, "Split Your Lip" had just come out around that point, and so I think "Run to Your Mama" was like the first ballad in a long time since like "Thank You for Letting Us Be Ourselves" album. But yeah, it was good, and I still go back to it sometimes and listen to it, and I'm like, I can hear stuff in there, but it's definitely, it's not, I don't know, it's not, and I mean this with respect, but it's not a hit. So I'd rather write a, you know, better song by myself than try and do something with a song that's less than. And Outcast was definitely the banger of the 2. But yeah, it was great. I mean, I remember I was in some shopping mall on the Idol tour and stopped and talked to Martin, the bass player, and, you know, talked to him about it. And it was like just weird. I didn't have good reception, and the language barrier also. And he was calling from Sweden, and it was like this odd thing. I was just walking out of a Hot Topic or something somewhere, and I was really cool. I didn't get to meet them until they did their first U.S. show in over like 10 years or whatever at the Whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was at that show. That show, and that was incredible. I don't lose my voice at concerts, but I lost my voice at that concert because I was singing along to every song except for the new songs from the album that they had put out at that point, which I think was Glue, the album that Glue was on.
I think it was the HCSS album.
Yes, that was an interesting one, but they definitely got back to it with "It Can't Kill My Rock and Roll," and just talk about hits, just the grooves. The grooves on that record, Vic's grooves on guitar are incredible. They're fucking awesome. It mixed like Priest with Ghost. You know, if I had to pick any other guys to compare it to, but Hardcore Superstar in a lane all their own. Street metal, man, glam and thrash. It's something I've loved for 15 years now, and I got the chance to sing with them. I opened a show of theirs. It was headlined by Michael Monroe. I almost said Michael McDonald, which would have been a hell of a lineup, and I would have
What a lineup!
Turn it on around. Love me's Michael McDonald. But
Yeah.
Michael Monroe as well. Michael Monroe killed it, and I was bummed because he had just changed his lineup, and Dragon from Backyard Babies was no longer playing rhythm guitar for him.
I love him and them.
Yeah. Dragon was super influential for Michael Monroe's like renewal, his rebranding, so to speak. The angel and the halo and devil horns logo, he made that. I mean, part of the reason I got a Spider-Man elbow tattoo is because
It's on his.
Yeah, it's on his. I went for a little different Spider-Man than his, but that was the like, oh, Dragon has Spider-Man, hell yeah, I'm getting Spider-Man. But yeah, he still had Steve Conti on guitar, who's another incredible guitar player, and he just has that Keith Richards cool factor that doesn't matter what he's doing or what he's playing. You just look at this guy on stage and you're like, fuck, that guy's cool. But yeah, I got to sing "Dreamin' in a Casket" with Hardcore at that show, and
awesome.
watch Michael Monroe almost hit people in the face swinging a microphone around his neck.
Dude, that's so rad. Yeah, no, besides my love and growing up on, all things Motley and Lizzie Borden and Kiss and all that out of LA, like I should be living over in Sweden. Like my love affair of Hardcore Superstar, Crash Diet, Backyard Babies, and 69 Eyes out of Finland, like is on a level of psychoticness that should probably have me locked away.
What about Reckless Love?
Oh, dude, I mean, Reckless Love is great because I like Oliver. I like the album he did with Crash Diet.
Yeah.
So I followed him to Reckless Love when he left CD, and all that same type of stuff. I mean, Crazy Licks and Lips and all these bands. I got to cut myself off now, or the guys will never get back into there. But like I started off that question, I was like, that question was solely for me. I figure the fans will get a kick out of hearing you talk about like getting guys and Michael Monroe. But I was like, dude, worked with Hardcore Superstar. There's no way I'm not gonna ask him about it for sure. Psycho, take over, man, so I don't take over.
Okay. Question is, do your kids think you're cool?
I don't know.
And do they dig your music?
Some of it.
Okay.
They haven't said they don't like it. My daughter likes. What does she like? She said she liked Prince of Metal a couple weeks, maybe a month ago or something. She said she really liked that song, and then a couple unreleased songs from another project band that she really liked one of the songs from. But yeah, I mean, our son has always enjoyed the music. He was singing the music during Idol and those songs, and we had the CDs playing all the time. So I think he definitely knows them. They probably all are sick of hearing some of it. The songs that get played too much around the times that they're being released, because I'm just playing them all the time. So he's probably sick of hearing Prince of Metal and Kings Before You. I mean, he was in the music video, so he's heard that song almost as many times as I have.
Right on. Cool.
Oh, right on, man, for sure. Jason, let's bring you back in there, my man.
So, if there was anybody that you could play with or write with or record with or anything like that, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ronnie James Dio.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Just Ronnie was something. He had a big effect on me at an early age, and even more so now at this point. I mean, I listen to every album, the exception of his Ronnie Dio and the Silver Platter stuff, but like Elf and Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, those two records, and then all the Sabbath stuff, and then all his stuff. And there's some misses in there, but there's a lot of really, really good shit Sacred Heart is that's a very underappreciated album, I feel like. And there's some good stuff on Lock Up the Wolves, but after that it gets a little odd. But yeah, there's Dio would definitely be it. But I mean, in a way, I feel like on this album, I feel like I wrote with Dio. I feel like I wrote with him. I feel like the things that were coming from my mind and my fingers and the songs, I'm like, this could have been on Last in Line. Like one of the songs, Riders on the Wind, easily could have been on Holy Diver or Last in Line or Sacred Heart. It's just of that feeling of that era, that mystical fantasy, just the way that he performed, the way that he sang. And I don't hear people singing that way or playing that style of metal, and haven't found it as I've looked for it. But I thought, why don't I? Why don't I?
Absolutely.
I just have
actually
a follow-up
no.
question real quick. You mentioned
Yeah, man.
Ronnie James Dio, but have you ever met him, and what are your thoughts on them doing the concerts with the hologram?
A hologram. I never got to meet him. I never had the chance to meet him. When I was on Idol, he had already passed, but I every single week I asked the team that cleared songs if they could clear Rainbow in the Dark, because I really wanted to perform that on Idol. And every week Wendy Dio kept saying no. She just didn't think it was right for his legacy to have his songs performed on Idol. But every week she kept writing nicer and nicer no's. So then when it came time to go on tour for myself with my band, after Idol, I played Rainbow in the Dark every single night and paid a real, touching tribute to Ronnie and kind of let it be known that, he's really important to me. And for those, I had a spiel like, for those that are aware of his music or not, we hope by playing you this song that you can understand just how special of a musician and artist he was. So for Ronnie and for all of you, put your fucking horns up. The song's called Rainbow in the Dark. And then at the end of the song, we love you, Ronnie. We miss you, Ronnie. We'll see you in heaven and hell. And then, ta-da. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's actually exactly where I was going to go, is because that's what you played when you were on the Panther tour. And so that's, right. And I was just going to kind of ask, I was like, where does that rank in like your Mount Rushmore of Dio songs? Is it number one, or is it right in that top four?
It definitely changes. Currently it's not in the top four. Currently the top four is like Sacred Heart, not in any order. Sacred Heart, One Night in the City.
Nice.
I love that song. What else is in there?
What do you think of We Rock? Because that's kind of my ride or die for Dio.
It's not one of mine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I'm not sure. Stand Up and Shout, it's killer. Well, that's yeah, Stand Up and Shout probably. I don't know. It's tough to say.
For sure. So much. There's just so much of it. I know it's sort of one of those, because you've got like Straight Through the Heart and stuff like that. You've just got all these great songs. And so here, I'll just kind of change it up before I kick it over to Angel. Have you gotten to see Last in Line live at all with what they've been doing? And are you familiar with the project?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely seen it and have met a few of those guys that are involved in it. I think that's killer. Anything to keep playing those songs and for people to keep hearing them, and for musicians to keep making making a living too. Absolutely. So yeah.
No, for sure, man, definitely, because that's definitely what it's all about for sure, man, is keeping like that music live and stuff like that. So as we get around about this time, we kind of hit you with like your a final little go around. James, do you have just a couple more minutes with us? Oh,
froze.
He did mention that.
Oh,
Oh,
there
we got it back.
Okay.
Sweet, cool, man.
Yeah, I gotta wrap up. I gotta get going. But
No, actually, that's perfect. I was actually just cueing in that this is right about that time that we do just that. So, Angel, why don't you just jump right into it with questions from yourself and final questions from the fans?
All right. Final question from the fans is from Kim Sullivan. She wants to know: is your band, The Last Boys? I'm sorry, The Lost Boys, still performing as a group, and what kind of music do you play?
yeah, the Lost Boys, we still perform. We haven't because of COVID and stuff. It's a cover band. We play 80s covers, 80s dance covers, and do a lot of the big celebrations and events here in our hometown. And those, we were supposed to have a hell of a 2020, and we had a nice, fruitful, good paying, good financial year lined up. But of course, those things got kiboshed. So we're hoping to pick up where we left off as soon as we're able to, and we were going to be doing a wine for the Art and Wine Festival that we play out here, which is a big deal out here. And we were going to have our own Lost Boys wine and all sorts of shit like that. So hopefully we'll get back to that. But definitely right now, like, the focus is on Durbin right now.
Gotcha, man, for sure.
Cool. And I don't have a last question, but just the last comment.
Yeah.
At M3 Festival, which was kind of early, you mentioned even if you're performing in front of 15 people, you give them the best show, and with the opening act, because you could win a fan. M3, I was just blown away at how you was performing, and people were just blown away by your performance. They were like, "Wow, this guy is the real deal. He really sings these songs great." And again, just want to compliment you on your performance that day, because you was like the highlight. You really kicked a lot of ass. So just want to compliment you on your performance at M3.
Well, thank you. That was a ton of fun. I really hold that show near and dear to my heart. That was the last time I played with Frankie when he was in good health. And that was a hell of a show. We got to play another 2 shows with him around the weekend that we did the In the Blood music video, which no one really talks about those shows for some reason. But he played his ass off again. But yeah, it was a hell of a show, and especially when you're only given 30 minutes, 35 minutes, which we were, and I was pumped. Any opportunity to play for a big audience, and especially a show like that, which is M3 is kind of like a cruise. It's a lot of people that are, diehard fans of this festival, and they always go and they meet each other at this show, and they meet different people, and they're like, it's like this show is a band in its own. It's a production. It's an experience, and these people always go and they always get what they're after. And knowing that going into it, I knew that I wanted to leave them with something that they'd be talking about afterwards.
You sure did.
Those are the things that I hope for. Thank you. I'm glad, because sometimes it doesn't stick, but knowing that that's the type of audience it is, and knowing the types of performances that QHAR had given in the past at different M3s, knowing that that's not me, and knowing that, really my whole thing with my time in that band was to bring more of the essence of Kevin back to the band. They chose to, get singers that sounded more like Kevin, and I don't sound like Kevin, but I can bring back even a little bit of the energy and the excitement back to that. They're not all necessarily memorable songs, not all of them. We played Metal Health in its entirety every single night. Nobody ever, made a big deal out of that. A couple from Condition Critical, and one from Down to the Bone occasionally, and one from QR3, The Wild and Young. But for the most part, it was Metal Health. It was singing the songs that people have an emotional attachment to, and a memory of hearing it a certain way, a memory of seeing it performed a certain way, at the US Festival or something, and really trying to bring that level of experience back to people. The front man, the person that reached out to them and threw his microphone stand in the air and caught it in his mouth, shit like that, and ran across stage and did a knee slide and a power slide and landed between the guitar player and the bass player and a back bend, and just really giving people something to be excited about too. Also being a young gun that day, and
Yeah.
and really showing like there is hope for the next generation. There really is, and stick around and dig into the music and dig into the guys that are gonna do it and that can do it and will be doing it. And I hope to go back to M3 with this new album, and whatever M3 looks like in the future. Go back next year or the year after or something, and give them the same hell of a show that they deserve.
Absolutely, man, for sure. So perfect, Bobby. Let me bring you in you said for your final question, man, before we wrap everything up.
And James, I got Tony with me.
Thank you, James.
James, just really wanted to thank you guys and everybody here on the Metal Summit. Jay, Angel, Jason, Steve. Look, James, thank you again for everything you have done, are doing, and keep doing. You keep it real, and we love you for it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Again, Tony and I, always watching Idol, and when you were on there, you gave the hope and inspiration to a lot of singers and people with disabilities, to keep rocking strong.
Absolutely.
Thank you, James.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. Yeah, Bobby, Tony, how
Enjoy
much
Disney
I love you
World
guys.
too. Have one of those giant turkey legs for us.
Oh, getting it tomorrow.
All right. Promise.
Love you guys. I'll talk to you a little later. See you Wednesday.
Absolutely, no problem. And Jason, let me kick it up to you right quick, man, before I wrap it.
Okay, so let me just
Jason's also he's our executive producer,
hold
so
on a
lose a
second.
connection. He makes sure that the screen doesn't go wonky. And actually, while he's tweaking that, real quick, James, as soon as we sign off, just stick around for a couple minutes because I just want to ask you something real quick off the air. Everything's cool.
Okay.
I just have a quick question. But yeah, Jason, do you have anything for yourself, buddy?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Here?
On the show?
Bro,
Yeah, we'll book you.
Oh, yeah.
We'll pencil you in.
Sitting here, sitting in my room, playing this guitar, loving my kids, loving my wife. As long as I'm alive, that's really all that matters. As long as I'm alive and living my life, and giving the people that I love the most love that I can possibly give, that's really all that I care about. If I get to play some shows and sing some songs along the way, that's just added bonus, really, on top of that. But I'm a sentimental guy, and getting to sing and getting to perform and all that stuff, it's on the outside. That's what the other guy does. Yeah.
That's a really awesome answer.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. For sure. And yeah, man, we definitely want to say, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening, and also, good luck with your show on Wednesday night because you actually do get to perform a show, which is one of the reasons that we were able to do a special episode for you tonight. So we definitely, on behalf of the Metal Summit, but also just on behalf of just music fans, good luck with that show, man, for sure.
Thank you. It's one of the ways I've been able to, stay afloat during this year is playing backyard shows. With the backyard show, someone's private, residence, their house, and socially distanced and fun for all. Music is really what people need right now, and I'm happy to be able to bring that music to people in that way. It's been a blessing, and I've met some really great people throughout doing it, and look forward to many, many more, COVID or not.
Absolutely. No, 100%. Well, thanks again so much, James, for taking some time out of your evening to rock out with us tonight. It was so much fun to talk to you. Everything from wrestling to Swedish metal to QR to what you're doing right now, which is what matters, is what you've got going on right now, and talking about family and also talking about, the stuff that's going to really cut deep, like with Tony and Bobby and stuff like that, and the positive message that we always try to put out in every episode. So we really thank you very much for that, for sure.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, again, on behalf of the Metal Summit, we want to thank you guys all so much. Check us out on all of our social medias. You don't have to go far for us. The Metal Summit, it's on everything. Go to the YouTube page, like and subscribe to the YouTube page, like and follow the Facebook, Instagram. Stay with us, everybody, because we got a whole lot more coming for us. You're not going to get rid of us too quickly. But on behalf of the Metal Summit, man, on behalf of Angel, Bobby, Jason, Psycho Steve, and Jay, and again, thank you so much, Mr. James Durbin, for hanging out with us this evening. We got an announcement coming up for you guys tomorrow that I think you're going to dig. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit us up on all the social medias again, and we'll see you guys again real soon. As always, this has been the Metal Summit.